wonderful. I love this question. Somebody asked, how do you gain influence as a church in your city?
Well, thinking of practical ways to love your city well, you know, and I think that churches, well, let me say, the challenge is that we often want to be the hero, and the way that you build relationships with cities and with other people really is to be the servant of the hero. Yeah. Like, be the guide. So, you know, we went to our city manager many years ago, I think 17 years ago, if I think about that, 17, maybe 18 years ago. And we said, hey, we want to help. You know, how can we serve you? How can we serve you? What's your vision? And we want to, you know, we want to give finances to our city. Well, what's the best way to do that? How can we fund some things you want to do? Yeah. And, you know, and it just took time. And it was like, you know, the tasks that they gave us were they were minimal, like minimal tasks, you know, sweep the streets, clean the park, literally like that. I mean, it actually took us like 2 years to get that. Yeah. Like, we were actually rejoicing, like, they're going to let us clean the park, you know. But, you know, 700 students in the park with like 10 rakes, you know.
Definitely remember cleaning the park.
It was not good, you know. And then we had to learn how to do it well. Literally, this is a true story. We broke our teams up into like teams of 50. Yeah. Not like you would think a guy who owned a business would like think through this, right? But literally, we would go to clean a park, and there'd be like, I don't think more than 3 or 4 rakes and brooms, you know. And here we got 50 people, so like 40 people standing around while, you know, 10 people had a piece of equipment. So, you know, I mean, 2 years later, we hired a manager who oversaw all that, and we, you know, bought $1 million worth of equipment, tractors and rakes and shovels and chainsaws and trucks and, you know, all the above. And, you know, so we started doing it like nobody's ever seen it done before, right? You know, and putting, you know, 1,600, 2,000 students to work in the city, more than that, 2,400 students to work in the city. I mean, you get a lot. We built a park they worked on for years. We built it in like 5 months, and you know, I mean, just beautiful park. I mean, just, you know, you can imagine we're like ants, like wow, you know, with equipment.
Got it.
We're getting written up in the paper, you know, week after week, and we clocked the most volunteer hours in the history of any city in America. That year. Church did. Yeah, with the schools. Yes.
Wow.
In the history of America, the most volunteer hours in one 12-month period.
Talking about that. That was a couple years ago.
Yeah, it actually is like, it was before COVID, so it was like 5 years ago.
I think I was in school.
I think you were too. Yeah.
I remember that. Wow.
So I mean, all that stuff matters. You know, it's just it's you know, we all want to, like, you know, I want to give the mayor a prophetic word. It's like, that's.
I love how practical that is.
Yeah, practical.
Sometimes it looks so practical to love your city and influence your city.
I think it's mostly practical and then some supernatural, to be honest. You know. And so I mean, and we have you know, once you have influence in a city, by the way, just for some of you, like, if you have influence in a city, there'll be people who love you and people who hate you. Yeah. This is a new thing for me to understand. So I thought, well, everyone's going to love us because we're pouring money into our city. We're cleaning. I mean, how do you get mad about cleaning parks? You know, we took over the Civic Auditorium, and, you know, run it as an event center, you know, for free. Actually, we paid to run it. And, you know, I mean, how do you get mad about that? They were going to close it, you know, and we put $2 million almost into remodeling, our own money. Yeah. People still get mad at you. So it's like, when people don't trust you, if you're doing something good, then, and they maybe like what you do, let's say, mostly they like what we do, but then they don't trust our motives. Well, what are they trying to do? And, you know, before us, it was the McConnell Foundation, who spends millions of dollars in our city. Yes. And they're in the paper all the time with negative, like, why are you doing this? So, you know, I'm learning that when you have influence, people will not trust some people won't trust your influence. Yeah. So, you know, and sometimes it's disheartening when you give your heart to something and your money and your time, and then you still have people that are like, and they're just trying to take over the city. Just trying to make everything, they're trying to Christianize everything. It's like, well,
reminds me of you speak on this, but John Maxwell speaks on this, like when the types of leadership being appointed versus being, all the different
anointed,
types. Yes, like all the different times. Like sometimes when you're just like put in a place of leadership, you don't have trust with the people, so they don't actually respect your leadership. I don't know. That just sparked my
that's really that I wasn't thinking about that on in that way, but he talks about leadership that's positional leadership as opposed to permissional leadership. I think that's true. And the other thing is we have permissional leadership from like city council and the mayor, but doesn't mean have permissional leadership from John that lives down the street, right?
Exactly.
So I get it. I think it's good just to know that when you're doing anything, if you're in anything positive or negative, if you're an influence in a city, there will be pushback, even if all your motives are amazing and all your work's great. So for some of you that,
some encouragement for you.
Some encouragement. I literally like most of the pushback is so ridiculous. Like, I guess if we had some motive to take over the city, it wouldn't be ridiculous. But the conspiracy theories of what we're trying to accomplish, is love our city well. Like it's all out there on earth as it is in heaven. Love your city well. Do it well. Anyway.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.